Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday, March the 8th. I appreciate you being with us and everything. We're going to be joined today with our interim secretary of DHHR, Dr. Jeff Coleman. We're going to also be joined by the commissioner of the West Virginia Bureau for Medical Services, Cindy Bean. And we're also going to be joined by our chief communication officer for the DEP, Terry Fletcher. They're going to tell you a whole bunch about different things that are going on. But before we get to those folks, yesterday was an incredible day in West Virginia. I hope you saw that we were able to finally deliver on the largest tax cut in the history of the state of West Virginia. You know, I started down this path a couple of years ago, but we want to absolutely recognize that a team is always stronger than an individual. You know, I wanted the Senate to win, the House to win, the governor's office to win, all West Virginians to win more than anything. And yesterday was a big time win for the state of West Virginia, for everyone. And absolutely, you see right there the Speaker of the House and the Senate President with me, and I was stunned, to tell you the truth, when all the balloons came down. Our people just kept that from all of us and everything, and nobody knew that was going to happen. But nevertheless, an incredible day in the state of West Virginia. There's going to be $750 million go back into the pockets of West Virginians, and the multiplier effect on the magnitude of those dollars will be something that will absolutely continue to just rejuvenate and do many, many, many great things for West Virginia. But the biggest thing of all is it is our stake in the sand, along with many, 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 many others, that absolutely is saying to our nation, if not the world, West Virginia is the place you ought to be. West Virginia is the place that you ought to give a look. West Virginia is the place that you ought to relocate your companies, to give job opportunity here to the greatest people, the most craftsmen, the most faith-based, the most low crime. All the people of West Virginia and the characteristics that they have are unbelievable. And not only that, located within a rock's throw of 2/3 of the population of this country. Abound in natural resources off the chart. Naturally, you think about coal and oil and gas, but do you think about a natural resource such as timber or water, of how profound that is? And like I said, you know, how could there be a place in the world that you could absolutely have so much, the greatest people, the greatest location, and live in paradise every day with the 4 greatest seasons that you can imagine? It is absolutely unbelievable how we used to be, maybe the blunt end of those tough jokes, but now really what West Virginia has emerged to be is that diamond that I've said many, many times in the rough that everybody missed. You know, it was a great, great day for West Virginia. We've had lots and lots and lots of them recently and everything, and we want to just continue to absolutely keep that going. You know, I could say to you, and I mean this with all my heart, I'll run through the finish line absolutely without any question. And I really, truly believe that you ain't seen nothing yet. Absolutely, what the magnitude of the good that's going to come to West Virginia is off the chart. So, you know, I only say that in jest or in slang, but I mean it. I really, really mean that all the opportunities, all the goodness is by no means here right now, but it's coming. And we got a lot of good things going on, no question right now, but we got a whole lot more to come. So I guess just to give you some specifics from, you know, very, very quickly, you know, we started down a path of doing a 30-10-10, you know, reduction in your personal income tax. 50% total, did we not? Well, you may think, well, I bet Justice is disappointed that we only ended up with 21.25. And you would have to be crazy to think that Justice is disappointed. You know, along the way, you know, we came up with a mechanism to be able to rebate your car tax back to you. If you'll remember way back when, I said all along, that we don't have to extract the money away from the counties. We can do it in a rebate fashion. That was my bill. We sent it up right off the get-go. We even used that rebate to be able to do something now for the small businesses in regard to machinery and inventory. Get rid of 50% of their tax. Absolutely, we helped their veterans with good ideas that came from the Senate in regard to machinery and inventory and their veterans. We absolutely were able to help our disabled veterans. How could you possibly not realize that those folks have given us everything we have, every single thing we have? And if you go back to the PIT and you go back to the personal income tax, think about it. Sure, I wanted 30 right off the get-go. We compromised and everything. We came to 21.25, but now we have something that is way more profound. We now have triggers in place to be able to cut our personal income tax by 10% every year until it's gone. Not up until 50%, until it's gone. So now West Virginia is on a pathway of elimination of their personal income tax and getting us to zero. And so lots and lots and lots of good. I thank the House so much, it's unbelievable. I thank the Senate an equal amount and everything. We absolutely joined hands together and did what government's supposed to do. Absolutely be respectful and be professional, negotiate, compromise, do the very thing that a business guy believes we should always do. You tell me what you want. I'll tell you what I want. And then let's work as diligently as we possibly can to get as close to that as we can, and then we've got a great makings of a great deal. So with all that being said, a great day yesterday in West Virginia, and we just want to keep them coming. I've got to tell you this, that we did have a train derailment this morning near Sandstone, right below Sandstone Falls and everything, and in Summers County. It was 109 empty coal cars. The derailment happened because evidently there was a rock that had come from off the mountain and came to rest on the tracks, and there was a collision with that rock. We have Terry Fletcher, our communications guy with the DEP that's on with us right now. So Terry, there's no point in me going through the fact that that we did have to airlift some folks and get some folks out, in a very, very, remote area of our state and everything. But we hope and pray that they're going to be fine. And but Terry, if you could tell us more, and I know we're all on heightened alert with what's happened in East Palestine, in East Palestine, Ohio. But I do think that this situation is under control, and it's under control with our emergency management division and our DEP and our Department of Health and Human Resources. So Terry, come on and tell us some more about this, please.
All right, thank you, Governor. And you're correct. We have a multitude of state agencies responding and coordinating on this effort. So as you mentioned, a CSX train hauling just over 100 empty coal cars derailed this morning around 5 a.m. down in Summers County. We had 3 crew members that were injured, and parts of the train caught fire, and at least 1 locomotive and 1 fuel tank ended up in the New River. And no hazardous materials were being transported. However, some diesel fuel spilled into the river. As you mentioned, Governor, we have State Emergency Management Division as well as DEP, DHHR, working with Summers County Emergency Management and county and city fire departments in the area, all coordinating and working together to monitor the situation. The DEP, we have staff from our emergency response and environmental enforcement units. They're on site and they're coordinating with CSX's spill response team, and they're working to deploy containment measures in the New River, as well as assisting and overseeing mitigation and remediation efforts. And we will be on site through the duration of the cleanup. From DHHR, their Bureau for Public Health has notified the downstream public water systems and local health departments to advise them of the incident. And I believe Dr. Coleman will be able to speak more on that aspect. But again, like you mentioned, we have everyone there. We're working all together to keep this at a minimum and minimize any potential health impacts.
Terry, thanks a bunch, and I know that you're all over it, and we're going to ensure that everyone's safety is taken care of. And we hate like crazy that any level of accidents happen, but when I think that the railroad, if I'm correct in this number, it's an astronomical number, but they've got like 35,000 miles of track, and we just want to make sure that all of our folks are safe, and we want to continue to pray that everyone in East Palestine is safe, and things are going to get better and get better really soon for those folks. And we want please keep all those that were injured in this accident in your prayers, and we just hope and pray we're not going to have damage at all to our waters, or really we have a quick recovery of the folks that were injured in this accident. But let's stay prayerful and positive, and with the great work of all the agencies that are working on this, I'm sure we'll get through it, and I'm sure everything will be okay. We've got another announcement here, and I oftentimes think about this, whether it be Berkshire Hathaway or it be Form Energy or it be Nucor or Pure Watercraft or a company called One, but all the different things that are happening all are ominous in southern West Virginia. It's just so many different things that are happening, and they're happening very, very, very quickly, and we're trying to encourage any and all to come. Many times a smaller company that's expanding and doing great stuff in West Virginia, gets kind of overshadowed by these great big announcements that are happening all over the place. But there's a company called Delta Cooling Towers, and really and truly, what they're doing is they are expanding their business in Barbour County. They're now creating an additional 30 new jobs, over the next few years, while they're retaining 26 current jobs that are in Barbour County. We absolutely, these folks, if I could tell you, read a little bit about this. Delta Towers are the only large packaged cooling towers in the industry that have a one-piece shell. And basically, this is a product that can, is seamless and panelless, and it doesn't have rivets or hundreds of fasteners and everything that could fail or compromise their performance or the integrity of their product. This is a product that absolutely is used all across the entire globe and everything. And so they moved their manufacturing operations to Philippines in 2002 and have consistently grown. And I hope I pronounced this right, but John Flaherty, the CEO of Delta, said just this: the quality of the workforce in West Virginia and the business-friendly environment were major drivers on the decision to expand in the state of West Virginia. So John and to all the folks at Delta and everything and the hard workers, we couldn't be more proud. We don't want to forget the smaller folks, the smaller businesses that are absolutely growing or expanding or coming to West Virginia. So it's so easy to be overshadowed by an announcement like Form Energy with 750 jobs, or Berkshire Hathaway or a Nucor or whatever it may be. But we don't forget. We do not forget. And we don't ever not appreciate. So thank you so much to Delta and all the great folks there and everything. And we're really proud of what you're doing. Okay, this one's tough. but we've lost a great man who was the director of the West Virginia Division of Administrative Services under Secretary Jeff Sandy, that passed away in a long-term battle that he had with an illness that he had for a long time. This fellow's name was Mike Coleman, and Mike Coleman served for 39 years with state government. Started out as a correctional officer. Director Coleman was one of 15 correctional officers that were taken hostage by inmates at the West Virginia, one of the West Virginia, correctional facilities on January 1st, 1986. It is amazing. He became the warden of the Mount Olive facility. He was the acting commissioner of the Division of Corrections, and finally director of the West Virginia Division of Administrative Services. I want all of us, and Kathy and I will surely be, head this up, but all of us to remember here was a really loyal servant to the West Virginia and in so many capacities and everything. So for Mike Coleman, we'll miss you, and we offer up our prayers to you and your family in every way. Now, we've got some announcements on DHHR, about the divisions that are taking place and how the DHHR will be split up, and also some great stuff about, or some educational stuff about the medical services and everything about Medicaid. So if Dr. Jeff Coleman could come on, and then Cindy Bean, and tell us all the stuff about this, please.
Well, thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor Justice. I'll speak to the House Bill 2006 that was signed into legislation this past week. I wanted to thank both the governor as well as the members of the legislature who worked on this bill. As I stated in my remarks during the discussion around the bill in the legislature, I believe that the bill as it was proposed and is now in place is an organizational structure that's actually similar to what is in place in many other states around the country. And it's certainly one that I'm confident we can implement here in West Virginia. In my opinion, one of the biggest improvements of this bill compared with what was passed last year is that even though the bill takes effect in 90 days, the 3 new departments will not be formally established until January of 2024. Which gives us really the opportunity to make this transition in a very thoughtful manner that doesn't disrupt any of the services that are being provided by DHHR. So we will begin the process of reorganization right away, but we'll also take this opportunity to do it in a way that not only modifies the structure of the department, but also really works to optimize the function of the current department, as well as the 3 future departments that will be in place in January 2024. And I'd just like to briefly mention a couple of initiatives that are underway that I really believe will help to address those functions. And I strongly believe that this all begins with better addressing the needs of our workforce within DHHR. First, as you know, over the last couple of months, we've taken several steps to strengthen our CPS workforce. This was the governor's first charge to us when I joined the department in December. And I believe that those steps are really beginning to pay off. We have seen in recent months the number of applications for CPS positions have tripled. And just yesterday, I was told that we have 24 new CPS hires that are currently in process. Strengthening that workforce is essential, and I think we're making good improvements there. The other initiative that we've worked on very recently is a new internship program that will be bringing students to Charleston over the summer to learn more about DHHR and about the job opportunities that are available for them following graduation. We've received over 200 inquiries about this in just the first 2 days, and we're very optimistic that this can be a direct pathway to help recruit new future employees to our department and assist current employees by adding to the workforce. So I'm actually quite optimistic about the future of the department, and I'm looking forward to working with all of our current employees, the state representatives, and those who we serve throughout the state to implement the requirements of the legislation in a way that's positive and beneficial for all of West Virginia. And with that, I know Commissioner Bean has some additional information as well about things that are happening in Medicaid over the next several months.
Thank you, Secretary Coleman and Governor Justice. It's my pleasure to be here today to talk to you about what is called the Medicaid unwinding. So during this time of COVID, we've experienced a lot of growth in our Medicaid rolls. We're well over 650,000 West Virginians are currently being covered by Medicaid because we've had continuous enrollment. Nobody has been disenrolled from Medicaid since the beginning of the pandemic of March of 2020. That provision in the federal government is ending. We will be mailing out letters starting this Friday for April. And these are your renewal letters that Medicaid members have been getting all along. And many of you have been able to turn those in and give those to us. Some of you have not. We have about 200,000 members that we have not received any information on in the last 3 years. We are here today to tell you that when you receive your enrollment in the mail, there will be actions taken based on whether or not you return that to us. There are several ways to re-enroll. You can call us. We have these numbers up on the screen. You can call the Change Center. You can email the Change Center. You can go into the PATH portal. If you no longer qualify for Medicaid, West Virginia Navigators will be there to help you, and their numbers is on the screen as well. But the most important thing that you can do as a Medicaid member now, if you have moved in the last 3 years, or you're not sure if we have your correct email and address information, please go into one of these portals or call us and give us that correct information, because the most important thing is, as you get these renewals in the mail, is to respond to them. And if we send it to you and that mail is returned, we will still try to attempt. We have robocalls happening. We have social media happening. We will still try to get in touch with you. But the most important thing, as a Medicaid member, please update your address in the system. So when you get your renewal letter, you'll be able to respond, and we'll be able to re-enroll you into Medicaid.
Okay, thank you so much, and Cindy and Doc, again, just keep doing the great work, making us proud and everything, and we're going to end up with DHHR better, and continue to try to help and look after all the folks in West Virginia in every way we possibly can. That's all I've got for right now.
All right, thank you, Governor. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Mark Curtis with Nexstar Media.
Here we go. I got Governor, I wanted to talk to you about the cuts in the federal SNAP benefits that are coming because the COVID pandemic assistance, the extra money that was sent in for people for SNAP benefits, is coming to an end across the country. And there's a lot of concern that this is going to push a whole bunch of West Virginia families, I believe over 200,000 families in the state, around SNAP benefits. that it's going to push them into food insecurity. I know you've donated a lot of money to the food banks or budgeted a lot of money for food banks around the state. But is it possible to use some of the Federal CARES Act or ARPA dollars to supplement the SNAP benefits for the people in West Virginia? And if Dr. Coleman wants to weigh in too, but what can be done to address this problem?
Well, I think Dr. Coben, you weigh in first and everything, and Cindy, if you got some thoughts, weigh in as well. But Mark, I think it's probably a little premature for us to be able to give an opinion as to how we can use ARPA dollars or possible CARES dollars that are left over or whatever to be able to do anything. For the most part, the CARES dollars are all wrapped up and gone. But anyway, Doc, if you and Cindy would like to add something to this, please do.
Thanks, Governor. I'll just mention that our Bureau for Family Assistance has been working on this intently over the course of the last couple of months, along with Cindy's team in the Bureau for Medical Services. So I'll ask her to weigh in as well. There will be additional information coming out about assistance to families through our Bureau for Family Assistance, and look for those communications in the very near future. Cindy, do you want to add as well?
Sure, Secretary Kevin. One of the things that we have done here at the Medicaid agency that really works, a lot of individuals that qualify for SNAP are, of course, on our Medicaid rolls. We have 3 managed care organizations. We've put in their contracts for all of them to address what is called the social determinants of health, and one of those is food insecurities. So they actually work with our community providers, the food pantries, the different outlets with regards to getting farm fresh foods to our members. So we have a contract provision for them to
Positive track in regard to an emergency fund, to our food banks and our food pantries and everything, but from the standpoint of trying to backstop and help, in any level of crisis. I've asked for $10 million. It's, $10 million a few years back would have seemed like all the money in the world. And I hope that it's sufficient and everything, but at the same time, I just say one thing alone. With these incredible surpluses that we've got going on within the state of West Virginia, we don't need people going hungry. That's all there is to it. We just plain don't need people going hungry in West Virginia. And I think that's the sentiment of the House and the Senate and all of us together. And so I look forward to us getting those dollars in place. And then as we go forward, from my standpoint, as we go forward, whether it be whatever the project would be, if we need more, I'll surely ask for more. And because at the end of the day, I can't imagine really and true that we need to have people really going hungry in West Virginia.
All right, thank you, Mark. Next to Chase Campbell with WTAP.
Yeah, hi. I had a question for Director Coben. So we've recently here at WTAP received some reports of a forensic group home being built in Parkersburg on Spruce Run Road here. I was wondering if, number one, you would be able to confirm whether there is DHHR leased property here in Parkersburg that's being developed for the purposes of building a forensic group home. And if that is the case, could you elaborate on what the purpose of that group home would be exactly?
Dr. Coben, you've got to take this because I'm not familiar with this.
group homes throughout the state for many, many years. And to my knowledge, there's never been an incident involving any member of the community or a complaint from community members around those existing facilities. There's also a very well-defined and deliberate process for determining who can actually operate a forensic group home, who can reside in a forensic group home, and what protections and precautions need to be in place and maintained at each of those facilities. So with all that being stated, I will say that I don't think having been in the position now for 3 months and looking backwards, I don't think that we've done a great job in the past at really explaining what forensic group homes are and communicating around this topic. I've directed our team here at DHHR to put together much more information about this than's previously been communicated, and we'll be working to provide that information broadly in the weeks ahead. I certainly want to address any concerns that community members have, but we also want to ensure that we meet the obligations that we have to those individuals who are within the custody of DHHR. So please, Chase, come back to me and look forward to additional communications coming from the department. Back to you, Governor.
All right, thank you, John. We do apologize for the brief audio issue. We'll get you a statement for that. Oh, I'm sorry, Chase. Next, we'll go to John Shaver with WV News.
Good afternoon, everybody. I also have a question for Secretary Coleman. You mentioned earlier that one of the main goals of this restructuring is to do the split without affecting negatively any of the processes and services you guys have in place. Can you share any specific details you have on that and how you guys are going to pull that off? Thank you.
Dr. Coleman, please.
Yep. Is my audio okay, Jordan? Can you hear me okay?
It is, yes. It was on our end. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so again, I think that we have close to a year to move through the process of establishing the 3 new departments. Our intent is to begin next week with a series of meetings that we'll be having within and across DHHR to begin to talk with our employees about what this restructuring will look like and what it will mean for each of our current employees. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, the legislation clearly delineates how the new departments are intended to be structured and what existing bureaus or commissions or divisions or offices within DHHR fall into each of the respective new departments. So over the course of this next year, what we intend to do is to begin an internal reorganization process that will allow us to begin to operate in much the way that the new departments will eventually operate once they become live in January. And as we begin that process, we'll be able to both maintain the current DHHR organizational structure, as well as all of the financial supporting that goes around that, while people begin to operate in the modality of understanding how they are organized in the future as separate departments. I hope that answers your question. It's really going to be a multi-step process where we work within each of our existing units to begin to delineate how that will work and who they'll be reporting to from a responsibility and oversight perspective.
All right, thank you, John. Next, we'll go to Amelia Nicely with the Register Herald.
Hi, everyone. This question is for DHHR leadership, whoever would like to take it. Will county level employees be handling the unwinding? I think they're called county income maintenance workers. I could be wrong about that. What is the vacancy rate for these positions? And do you feel like you have enough staff to support this unwinding effort here in West Virginia?
Doc, you're popular today. You know, you're making it easy on me, but Doc, go ahead, please.
Well, hopefully Commissioner Bean will make it easy on me because I think this is more in her area, so she can expand upon it.
Sure. So we've worked very closely with our Bureau for Family Assistance, which is the county offices that do this. And one thing that West Virginia did during this whole time, we've continued to mail out these letters. We've continued to re-enroll individuals. So a lot of people, this will be seamless to them. But we do have a couple 100,000 individuals that really haven't responded through the last 3 years. And so for those individuals, that's who really needs to respond. And what we have done to alleviate any kind of pressure on the county offices, we have evenly dispersed this over the course of the next 12 months. So it will be something that they've continually to do, only now there will actually be some consequences to the actions if somebody doesn't return their information.
All right, thank you, Amelia. Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, the only thing I've got is just this, and I want everyone to pay really close attention to me on this. We're winding down the 60-day session, and there's so many things that have happened this year that have been really, really, really impressive. But just remember this, your delegates and your senators that are up there working really, really hard, and of course all of us as well, but absolutely they're away from home. Many of them are away from home an awful lot during this 60-day session. To be perfectly honest, they're not paid a lot of money. And literally they give up their time and everything to help all of us. You know, sometimes it gets crazy, but at other times, and most always, the outcome is positive. So with all that, be thankful and be appreciative, as I surely am. You know, whether it be our great senators and all the great work that they've done, or it be all the great House members and all the great work that they've done. It's good stuff. And I salute them in every way, and I thank them for their effort, and I thank them for the positive way we're really moving this state forward. So thanks so much. God bless each and every one of them and all of y'all out there and everything. So, and hopefully all of us as well. So with all that being said, I thank you, and God bless all the great people in West Virginia. We're having some really good days, and we got more and more and more to come. Thank you so much.